The purpose of this resource is to provide guidance for utilizing scaffolds that are embedded in your EL Education District curriculum. Scaffolding is an instructional method that progressively moves students toward greater independence and understanding during the learning process. It's a temporary support that acknowledges what students already know, the barriers they will face in achieving new learning goals, and the instructional support that will benefit them in negotiating those barriers. Throughout this learning opportunity, we'll focus on examples of scaffolds that already exist within EL education lessons using Lesson 2 from Grade 5, Module 2, Unit 3. An EL Education Scaffold Overview document for elementary ELA grades 2 through 5 can be found in Learning Central under the appendix within each grade level module and in the teacher planning tools for your grade level curriculum. Please refer to this document for additional supports as you plan. The lesson components listed on the slide are where you can locate embedded scaffolds within lessons and will be highlighted throughout this presentation. In Lesson 2, students will identify the characteristics of the beginning of a narrative and plan and draft the beginning of their narrative to establish the situation and introduce the characters. The basic design of this lesson supports ELLs by enabling them to write in pairs. Capitalize on this opportunity by having pairs process their plan for writing and the beginning of their story orally before they put pen to paper. Further support these conversations with sentence frames. Support students as they seek quotes that establish situation by having them look for quotes with nouns that represent people to introduce characters. See the lesson for additional suggestions. The universal design for learning is a way of thinking about teaching and learning that helps give all students an equal opportunity. When students begin planning and writing a narrative, text in this lesson offer multiple ways for them to express their thoughts, such as making the connection to the writing test by asking questions that help establish the scenario, like who are the characters and what is the setting. Consider modifying the narrative planning organizer to one that is one page with the information organized visually in a different way. You can modify the narrative planning graphic organizer so each section, the beginning, middle, and end, is separated into 3 pages rather than in columns. This can support students' executive function skills by helping them to chunk their work into manageable pieces. Allow students to choose which works better for them. Make a visual writing goal for students by placing a star or sticker at an individualized goal point for the session. To be successful in writing narratives, students will need to draw heavily on prior knowledge from learning resources such as the Narrative Text Anchor Chart or the Narrative Writing Checklist. Consider using a modified narrative writing checklist, such as the one linked on the next page. Here's an example of a modified writing checklist linked here. Review the domain-specific vocabulary. For the other vocabulary featured in the lesson, consider displaying a word bank for students to draw upon in their writing. Use a total participation technique in Work Time A, described in the teacher guide, to analyze the model introduction as a class. Allow students to use Think, Pair, Share a great deal. When students are making their choices for their narrative scenario topic, possibly decrease the choices of their narrative topic to 2 of the below scenarios. Guide specific students when choosing their narrative to choose from the same one, possibly a small group of students who need significant support and will work closely with a teacher, or a student who needs to work with a higher level student with the same topic to provide support and conversation. Students can paint or color code the organizer and match each section colors to the written paragraphs. For ELLs and students who may need additional support with writing, before students write, invite them to orally tell the beginning of the story to their partner, referring to the narrative planning graphic organizer. Scaffolding is an instructional method that progressively moves students toward greater independence and understanding during the learning process. Refer to the EL Education Scaffold Overview for grades 2 through 5 for additional resources that may provide further support when planning for and implementing instruction. As a reminder, additional resources and professional learning videos can be found in Learning Central under the appendix within each grade level module and in the teacher planning tools for your grade level curriculum. If you need more assistance with differentiating scaffolding lessons, you may wish to reach out to the experts in your building, the ESL teacher, the special education specialist, the intervention team facilitator, or contact the central office coordinating teachers assigned to your school for support.